Welcome back to another episode on the Oak and Rock Fatherhood YouTube channel. I'm Zachary Small with my co-host Anthony Miglierino, and today we're talking about the language and tone in your home, what it means, how you can improve it, and how you can ensure that your message that you're sending is the one they're receiving. Sometimes along the way, you send something out there and the reception of it isn't quite what you thought it would be or wanted it to be. So we're going to talk about how to address that, how to pay attention to it. And honestly, one of the bigger things is how to simply be aware of how you speak and what it is you're saying to your kids. Anthony, you're the one who had brought this up initially, and it was really interesting to me, the angle you were taking on it, about the language your kids are learning. I hadn't heard it the way you had worded it yet. So if you want to kick it off with that, I think that'd be a great introduction to the subject.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Zach? Glad to be back at it.
Yo, long time no talk.
Yes, and this is something. It's a deep topic. It's something probably most men are not. They're not having these conversations, and that's why it's important. It's not about always saying the right thing or always being nice. Right? We want to have kids. So the way I look at it, we talk about this a lot, that our kids follow our examples, but even more than that, right? We shape and mold their minds, and that starts from a young age. It starts from being a baby, really. And if we can think about these ideas, that the way we talk to our kids, the language we use in our home, it's going to have a long lasting effect on on who they become, through childhood to adolescence to an adult. So we have to be really heightened, really aware of how we're speaking to them and that language we're using. So now, when I say language, I don't mean, Spanish or Latin. I mean everything down from the tone of our voice to the the message behind it, right? If your kids see violence, if they see frustration, if they see threats, if this is all they're seeing growing up, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be adults who usually, more than likely, will follow suit, right? They're going to be speaking the same way that you did when they're younger. And a great analogy to this is, if you grow up in a house where everybody speaks Spanish, you're going to know Spanish, right? You're not going to wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I speak English now." Cool. It just doesn't happen. But even more importantly, the importance of it, if you raise your kids in a house that has the language of love, of peace, of consideration, cooperation, all the great things, all the great virtues we speak of how to raise your kids peacefully. When they grow up, that's what they're going to know, right? The same way, if they learn Spanish, they're going to grow up to speak Spanish. So when they get older, they're going to go out and they're going to create relationships with people. But guess this is the great thing, because what happens when people grow up in those violent households and they start interacting with your grown children, your kids are going to pick up the violence, the aggression, right? The people who aren't squared away, because it's not what they speak, right? It's not who they are. So I think that's important to me. It's something I actually see in my own kids. They know when people aren't right. They know when other children, they can almost pick out when other children had a really abusive childhood, as they're adults now and interacting with them, because there's so much pain, there's so much frustration and anger that's held within. So it's very important, the language that you use in your home.
It's incredible how kids can pick that up. You know, now I would say we did a video, I think it was our last Q&A. I was talking about how you can see it in the kids' eyes, how they see a peaceful family and they know they don't have that, and how our job, what we're doing with Oak and Rock, but how our job as fathers is to give them that connection, give them that peace, give them that safety in the home. You know, the kids, they see it. And similar to yours, my daughter's 9. So I'm going to the youngest kid between the two of us, a 9-year-old. She sees it. She goes and she will tell me, like, "Oh, I think this or I think that is going on in their home." And I'm like, man, that's coming from a 9-year-old little girl. She can see, like, hey, I don't think their family's very nice, or yeah, they're very angry. And it's interesting. And like, man, like if she's picking that up, like they know what to look for. And I think there's something to that that's just natural. Again, going back to just who we are as people, there's nothing really special about this. This is just the way it is. These are the rules, and whoever said the rule was hit your kids so they listen, that's the right way to do it. They were wrong. You know, there are better ways. There are better ways for animals to interact with one another. And as mammals, you know, if you think of a kitten, it's got a high pitched meow. I've got a new kitten, so I know all about that. But you think of a lion, when that thing roars, and you hear that deep guttural roar of a lion or a tiger or something, you know the difference between a kitten and a lion. If you're speaking to your children and this is your tone, and I have an issue with this, and like admittedly, this is something I still work on, is when I'm talking to you right now, like this is a pretty normal conversation tone. But sometimes I'll get like worked up in the moment, you know, and you spoke about the dad voice. When that bass comes out, you hear a different part. You know that is not a kitten. That is not something peaceful. That's something that's deep and can be violent, and you got to pay attention. So when I come across, if I start talking like this to my kids, I'm like, let's go. I might in my head think I'm coming across as peaceful and motivational, but I'm barking at them. And I don't even realize, hey, I'm bringing a somewhat aggressive nature to them. And they're like, oh, whoa, did we do something wrong? The words coming out aren't matching the tone he's using. Is he mad? Is he not? As fathers, we might not realize when we come home and we're abrupt and we come out of work, like, hey, go do this, or hey, go get that. We're being blunt and efficient because at work, that works. When you're interacting with your children, you've got to take a different tone. You know, if I'm at work and I'm talking to one of the guys in the shop or whatever the hell, what I've got going on, and I bark at them and they're like, yeah, let's go. Or in the Navy, follow the orders, go do your job. I'm doing mine. There's not room for connection because it's not a peaceful environment. That's a work environment. In your peaceful environment, AKA your home, you need to be speaking a language that allows them to open up and know this is a peaceful person. This is a message of connection here. This man is not barking at me. You know, and there are men like myself who I don't hit my kids, but the dad voice every now and then, if things are getting out of control, still comes out. So if I'm still like, hey, you know, like that quick, abrupt, just bark, and then everything goes back to peace, it shouldn't even get to that point. And that's something that's on me to work on because, again, it's never the kids. It's always me losing patience because I've got some like a million things in my brain and they just happen to be there and they're not stopping whatever I wanted them to stop doing. So it's like a quick bark. That's it should never get to that point. So that's something that I've been working on myself. And, you know, since working with you, I've gotten so much better at. I can't, like, again, like many things, I don't remember the last time I had to do that, but that is something that I would do. So we may think, hey, we're raising these kids in a nice, peaceful environment. But in all reality, what you're doing is you're leaving wounds that can't be seen. You know, you're hitting them with your words and the way you're coming across. And for some, they know what they're doing. And, you know, we'll talk about, you know, insults and these little remarks parents make. They know exactly what they're doing. For others, and these are the ones I feel the most for, because it sucks. I know it sucks because I felt it, is you're unintentionally doing damage. You didn't realize what you were doing. You know, you're unintentionally creating that environment where there's no physical ramification, there's no physical consequences going on. So you think it's okay. You don't realize, man, I should probably speak to them in a much better tone, a much more connecting tone, you know, as opposed to just barking at them. Because you're not a boss, you're a father. You're not at work, you're in the home. So that's something that I wanted to point out because as you were saying that, I was thinking a lot about myself. So maybe this is my confession time.
No, I think it's a great point, Zach. You don't want your kids to normalize the home of a place of violence where we speak to each other like we don't care about each other. And the like you mentioned, the parents who their house or their home is still like that, it's because of the cycle, right? That's the cycle of abuse, of generational trauma. They're just passing it down. Instead of saying, I want to grow and become better, they allow their family to normalize that this is dysfunction. This is normal in our house, right? We might be messed up. This is how it is. And you, as a father, you have the capability and the certainty to change that around just by how you speak, how your body language, your tone, everything runs off of you. So again, you have to keep the house peaceful. Absolutely. The conversation about going out into the world and being competitive and, you know, doing hard things, that's completely different. The home we want to keep peaceful. Um, another element to this, and what I see often, is a lot of fathers will use meaning words, and they'll use words as, you know, your kids are, they'll describe their children to me and they'll call them stupid, or they'll say they're lazy. And I know you like this one, is little shits. Right? They
Oh,
call
dude.
their
Dude. I hate it.
But if you think about this, your kids, and this is how it should naturally be, they look up to their father. And when you use peaceful parenting, that natural instinct comes back because that's what we're showing them, right? We're showing them what a good man, what a good father should be, how they should treat their kids. So your kids are going to be even more inclined to look up to you. So we do have to be very aware of how powerful our words are, right? We're shaping, again, we're shaping their personalities. We're doing things that we're giving them words that describe how we feel about them or what we think about them. You don't want your kids to think that they're lazy or they're stupid. Even if they're doing things that show you they might be lazy, we don't want to say you're lazy. We want to find better ways to navigate that because the sad reality is, and this goes into adulthood, the words and the things that we say to our kids, they start to believe it about themselves, right? Dad thinks I'm lazy. You know what? I probably am. Or dad thinks I'm stupid. Yeah, I am. I'm stupid. Why would my father, who has the greatest influence on my life and who I look up to and I need help from, if he thinks I'm stupid, then I must be. So we have to completely eliminate that, and you have to be aware of it. Um, it's something that I point out to fathers often. They'll be talking about their kids or a problem, and I'll stop them mid stride and I'll say, "Hey, dude, remove those words. Even if you're joking, even if you're trying to be funny, just take it out of your mind. This way, there's never a slip up. This way, you're more aware of it when you're in the home. And you need to have your son clean his room, and you don't have to call him lazy. You don't have to make fun of him. You can look for better ways to solve that problem, but you make sure that the words you're saying, they're encouraging to get the task done. So very important to don't call your kids little shits.
Yeah, dude. Start knocking on doors, man. But here's the thing. So we're talking about the language and tone in the home. We spoke about tone, but the language, the words you use, like you just said, it's almost like the sentencing from a judge. If you say, my kid is lazy, it's like you're sentencing them to a life of laziness because that's how they're going to see themselves because you are their father. And you don't get to play this game. And I'll be very direct on this. You don't get to be the dude who's like, I want my family to respect me and follow me, but I don't want them to take me literally or listen to my words. Like, that's not how that works. If you want them to follow you, if you want that respect and admiration that comes with being a patriarch and leader of a family, then your words matter. So you better be intentional with them. Because when you say things like, my kid's lazy, my kid sucks at math, my kid, whatever, they're like, okay, I follow this man. That is my hero. That dude is the strongest thing I know. He's the scariest thing I know. He's the biggest thing I know. He's everything. He's my father. And he thinks this about me, so he must be right, like you said. So you have now sentenced them because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You keep telling them, hey, my kid sucks at math. They're like, well, I just don't get it. Instead of saying, hey, hey, buddy, come here. Hey, you're struggling with your math, but that's all right. We'll find a different way to do it. What is it? Edison found 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb. Cool. We're going to find your way to do your math. We're going to find your way to find a system that works for cleanliness or for cleaning your room, organization or whatever. You don't just sit and, hey, you are this thing. Because it's stripping them of their ability to be anything more. You've now sentenced them. This is what you are. Stay in your lane. You're gross. You're nasty. You're a little shit. That's what you are to me. It's fucking disgusting. And you're just saying it like it irks me because it's your child. That is your little baby that needs you to lead it in the world. And you're just like, nah, that's not what you are to me. You're not my kid. You're this little shit. You're an impediment to me wanting to do what I want to do in life. We talk about tones. Let's bring it a step further. When you're mocking your kids, I've seen this too. And it just drives me up a wall, man. Like it's infuriating, to be honest. When they're like, oh, you've got a boyfriend, you've got a girlfriend, and they'll start teasing them. We were talking about before this, some of the videos we've seen online where they'll smash a kid's face into their cake at their birthday in front of all their friends. It's, hey, you're stupid, or hey, come over here, show them how dumb you are, or like, look at your stupid haircut. They just make fun of their kids, and the kid's like, I really liked this haircut. I really wanted to try, I don't even know, like I can't even think of anything, but the undercut or something, some new fad that's out there. The kid's like, oh, I want to fit in with my friends and be cool. And the parent comes along, look how stupid my kid is. Ha ha ha. Other parent, high five, you little shitbag. It's like, man, you just want to walk up and just punch them in the gut. And they don't even, and some of these parents, like I said, I think a lot of them do realize it. In the moment, they're like, let's make this our punching bag. They're smaller than us and weaker than us, and they can't run away. So we get to treat them and say what we want to say. We can't say that to other adults because they'll punch us in the fucking mouth. But these kids, let's take advantage of them. Let's talk a lot of shit to them. Dude, it's insane. Those are your children. So sometimes it's not just the tone, it's the literal words you're using. And I will throw this one micro rope out there for the parents who don't get it. When you think you're just teasing and having fun, if it's at the expense of your child and it's not in a loving manner, it's not very clear to everyone involved, the child especially, that it's a joke, then it's not funny. And it's not what's best for them. Every now and then I'll joke with my son about his art because he hates art, and he'll turn something in. I'm like, dude, I love it. He's like, Dad, that's horrible. I was like, I know, and I love it, man. You know, that's like our running joke. I'm never like, you're stupid. You're not an artist. Man, you'll find yourself. I don't care what you do in art, but I don't think you're stupid. I think if this is the best you can do, dude, fist bump. Cool. It's going on the fridge. And he's like, Dad, you're ridiculous. I'd rather my kid laughing at me saying I'm ridiculous for putting his insane art drawing on my fridge than for me to be like, you're stupid. This looks like somebody who has, learning disabilities or something, like just totally like trying to trash him or show him my friend, hey, look at what he did. Isn't this horrible? No, man. It's my son. Why would I ever do that to him? I might have gone on the rant there, man. No, I hate when people treat kids like this.
Well said. I got to see you fired up today. It was good. No, but you're right, man. When did it become cool to make fun of kids, especially if you're their father? I don't see how that has even become a thing. But I think it's a reflection of, it's almost where you can't joke with anybody anymore. We don't know how to have fun together, right? Everything has to be at the expense of somebody else. So I actually find myself around other parents sometimes, and they will be very disrespectful to their kids. They'll shush their kids, like, get away from me. And I don't want to be around that. I don't condone that, right? If there's a parent who we're standing side by side, and this happened to me when I was younger. When I was a younger father, I had another father, a friend of mine, speak his daughter right in front of me, and he knew it was wrong. Right, I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his little beady eyes. He knew that it wasn't the right thing to do. His daughter was running around a little crazy, misbehaving, whatever. She was having fun. She was playing, and he asked her to come here, and she wouldn't listen. So he went out of his way, he grabbed her, and he gave her a swat. And the moment he did it, he looked up at me and he goes, "You spank your kids, right?" And I just looked at him and was like, "Nah, man, I don't. Never have, never will. I don't think grown men should be hitting children." And it wasn't that I'm better than him. It was that I have a fucking standard, and I live by that standard. And I'm not going to break it so this guy can be accepted by me or thinks that I'm cool with him. Right? There's things you have to stand for, and I do draw that line. Right? I'm not going to be around other parents who ridicule, criticize, and treat their kids like crap. I don't want that to be a part of my life. Right? I talk to my kids about my values. I better make sure that I'm living with those values, right? I can't tell my kids, hey, I'm the peaceful father, and then go out and high five on other fathers who are treating their kids like crap. That's not me. And I think it's an important lesson that we can show our kids the kind of people we want to bring around us, right? We talk about this all the time. You have to keep improving as a man. You have to change your circles. You have to bring good people into your life, people who are going to support you, support your growth, people who are going to be there for when you get knocked down, and people who aren't going to make fun of you, people who aren't going to call you little shits. It's important. It's building relationships, functional, healthy relationships.
It's interesting. As you were saying that, I think a lot of parents get shamed into the lowest level of their peers, which is another reminder to have better peers. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about when you say that dude grabbed and spanked him. I've had parents talk smack about their kids and try to pry. Oh, what about your son does that too, right? No, man. We're not about to have this conversation. I am not about to sit here and go to the level you just went to with your kid. That is not going to happen. And they'll do it. Well, your daughter does this thing. Negative. Don't even try to play that game. Like, no. And it's happened because so my son and daughter, I mean, they're unique individuals. They do their thing. And if somebody tries to turn what I view as a feature into a flaw, dude, I'll come with an axe. I will chop your hands off. You will swallow acid so you never speak again. Like,
hypothetically.
Hypothetical. Let's not get banned. Dude, the parents who want other parents to come to that level so they don't feel bad about what they're doing, know they're doing something wrong. That's why they need the group to come in. That group support's a real thing. That strength in numbers. Don't be that parent. Don't let yourself get sucked into that cycle of like, oh yeah, you're just rolling with it. And you're like, I don't realize how I even got to this point. It started out here and then we just got caught up in the momentum. But all of a sudden you're sitting there, you're like, yeah, my kid sucks too. They're horrible. No, you don't even feel that. You don't even believe that yourself. You're just saying it because you're in a group and peer pressure is a real thing, and you're not strong enough to overcome it. So again, that's another point in the column of your language and tone can be influenced by your peer group. So if we're looking to bring a better language and a better form of language and a better tone to the home, then we need to have a better peer group outside of it.
Yeah. And you actually combat your own child or children from the attacks of the peer groups, right? The peer pressure. So many parents struggle with that. They say, oh, my kids are easily influenced by other kids or easily manipulated or taken advantage of. Well, we need to start seeing how we speak to them if we're manipulating them. And two, are the people that we hang out with, right? Our close friends. Are those people good people? Are we just trying to fit in to their peer group, just to be accepted? And it's important to note, we want our kids to not be minimized. We don't want them to minimize themselves. Especially from us as their father, but also we don't want other people to minimize them ever, right? And unless there's not even an unless, right? We don't want it to happen. Never allow your children to be minimized by somebody else. And you have a role in that as a father, right? You protect your kids. We are their shield. And when they're young, we have to make sure that we defend that ground. We don't let other people talk smack about our kids. We make sure that the people we choose to have our relationships with, they know that we love and respect our kids. To me, it's the bottom line.
They learn quick too, man. I'll tell you, at the first time they try getting you on board, you're like, eat a dick. they stop asking. They stop trying to win you over and stop trying to bring you onto the let's bash kids team. I'll never be on that team. Dude,
yeah, it's weak behavior, dude. It's not masculine behavior.
So something too that you highlighted in that last, little tirade, which I totally dig, is an oft or overlooked aspect, which is body language. Often, like we talk about our language, but body language is a real thing. And we were having a discussion with the fathers, and I was trying to explain to them, as a kid growing up, I was in an environment where I had to see like the color of the eyes, like were they super red or were they still clear? Were words slurred or were words normal? Was somebody posturing and in a bad mood, or were they in a good mood and relaxed and receptive? And it taught me to the point now where it's exceptional being able to sit and read somebody across from me. I think it's Joe Navarro, who's the FBI agent. I would love to go toe to toe with him, because I'm like, when I sit there, it's little things like the way you blink, the eyes. What are they doing? Are you all of a sudden fidgeting? Like you get all these little notes, and you get to kind of see what the body is saying, but the mouth's never told you. So with our children, one of the things I had said, and you were talking about it with the guys in FOE, I was like, hey, make sure your face isn't telling something you don't want your kids to not know. If they say something that disappoints you, if they say something that surprises you or disgusts you, or if they say anything and you don't want them to know your initial reaction, you want it to be controlled, you can't let your face give that away. Be ready to hear some news that might be disappointing, like, hey, Dad, I got suspended from school. Instead of turning to that face, okay. Because once that face comes out, the kid's like, oh, crap. They've already gone through, Dad's pissed, Dad's going to yell, Dad's mad. This is not good. But if you learn how to control your body language and you can receive information without emotionally reacting to it on the inside, you're able to better get to get better communication with your child. So when they tell you things that they're maybe embarrassed about, and when they say it and you're making a face, they're like, I'm going to shut down. We can't talk about this. Dad's judging me. But if you can sit there and like we were talking about, a lot of peaceful parenting is from mom blogs or very non-confrontational men. When you bring really motivated dads into the mix, if you and I are sitting there and we're bringing a 5-year-old like little kid who's trying to sell us cookies, we're not going to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, come on, you want to learn about motivate? No, we would relax. The posture would come down a little. We'd become open. Hey, here are our hands. We'd sit open. Come on over here. Yeah, what are you selling? Of course, we'll buy some Thin Mints off you, kid. Fist bump. Go Girl Scout somebody else. Go see Phil Foster. That dude loves cookies. Go hit him up. Shout out to Phil, who's probably going to have me trading harder because I said that. But your body language says so much more than you give it credit. So make sure you're aware of it. And I'm not saying you need to go to FBI agent school to read body language. No, just be aware of how you're presenting yourself. If you're sitting over your kid like this, hey, tell me how your day was. Dude, that's an interrogation. But if you're sitting there like this, hey, buddy, what'd you learn about today? Your kid's going to be much more receptive to that. And he's going to be much more wanting to talk to you and not like, where's the single light bulb swinging over my head?
Yeah. Why won't my kid talk to me?
Yeah. You're just mean mugging him the whole time. So body language, I think, is an overlooked but equally important part of the delivery of the message.
Absolutely. And I got a quick story. We talk about being open and communicating. I had a moment one time where my middle daughter, who's 20, she came up to me and she's just out of the blue, random, just said, "Hey, Dad, are we okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, why? What's going on? What do you mean?" And she goes, "I don't know. I said something to you the other day, and your facial expression didn't seem pleased, right?" And I was like, "Oh," I said, "Listen, that's great. I want you to come talk to me always. If you feel there's something going on, absolutely, come talk to me about it." And I don't know if this happens to you, Zach. It probably does. But there are times when people talk to me, especially my kids or my wife, because they're around me the most. And my thoughts are like 6 different places. So what my face is saying might not even be related to what they're telling me, because it's a concentration thing, obviously. But I go off the rails a little bit. So I might smile at something that I'm thinking about doing later, and they're talking to me. And I think that's what happened with my daughter, right? She got a mixed message, but I love that she was able to come and ask me, "Hey, Dad, is everything good between us?"
And that open line of communication, that we've spoken about that in a few videos. Being able to say things, even if we go back to the last video, we were talking about confrontation. That could have been a conflictive conversation. Hey, what's wrong? She doesn't know what you're going to say. Are we all right? Are we good? She has no idea what your response will be, because up until that moment, she's like, why was Dad making that face? What's on his mind? What did I do that we haven't spoken about yet? Whatever. Instead of letting that grow and fester in her head and start stressing, she's like, hey, let's just have this talk. That right there is a bigger act than many are aware. If you understand parenting, you understand how big that is. If you don't, you're probably like, oh, she just asked. No, she overcame all of the reservation and fear that could have been there. All the like, man, is he disappointed? Is he mad? Is something I did? What did I do? What was my day like? Brains flying. Having the trust to be like, hey, Dad, what's up? Boom. Yeah. There it is. Because then he can say, oh, nothing. I was thinking about a blog post I'm going to write. I wasn't even listening to you. I'm sorry. What were we talking about? Like, let's go back over that and recap, because I missed some of the key details. Yeah. That's such an easier conversation than your kid thinking my dad is angry at me and then going to bed stressed out. That's great. It's also funny because I do that same thing. Like my brain, I'm always writing something in my head, like blog posts or videos or something that we're going to talk about. And so Jack or the kids will be talking to me, and I think I got the key details. Now I'm like, all right, they're just going to ramble about something I can think about. And then, boom. And then I'm smiling at a very serious part of the story, or I'm very like focused like this. And they're like, I just told you a joke, man. I'm like, oh my God, I really got to focus here.
Great joke.
Yeah. Good one. So tone and language in the home. I think we hit the nail on the head, man. We hit a lot of key aspects of it. If there's anything that we did not cover that you want us to dive into deeper, or if you're going through trying to figure out how to change your approach to the family, or some tips and tricks and techniques you could use to better communicate and to better sort of deliver your message and receive a message, feel free to drop a comment. Feel free to shoot us a DM. I mean, just blast it however you can our way. We'll dissect it and we can dive deeper into your specific situation. But if you want something broad, we're pretty much painting with a broad brushstroke intentionally right now because this covers a lot. There's a lot of very specific situations where maybe you've got to change the approach. So if you want that answer, every Wednesday we're running Q&As. Jump on one of those and you can ask us about your specific child, age, gender, situation, where you're finding yourself, what's going on in your home specifically. Or again, the email below, contact@oakenrockfatherhood.com, or shoot us up a message or DM on Twitter or Instagram. I think that's about it, Anthony. You got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, I think you covered it all.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap this one up. Again, the language and tone in your home, make sure it's exactly what you want it to be and you're connecting with your kids and not unintentionally building some brick walls. And don't call your kids little shits or talk about them in a negative light. God.
Stop doing that.
All right. Brother, thank you for your time. And for those who tuned in, again, make sure you like, subscribe. And more than anything, make sure you're applying the information because nothing changes if you don't do the action. You guys take care and stay well.